Hi, Olof, and welcome to Darjeeling Web Scene. Again, thank you very much for your time for taking this give us the time for this interview. So, well, the first question that is really important for us to know is how have you been and how is the band considering this whole situation that we were going through the last year?
No, I think we've been in Sweden. We've been having we haven't had much of a lockdown situation. It's been so I've been living my life pretty much as normal
Hmm.
this last year, except from the fact that we haven't really been able to do much live shows or play live or even play music whatsoever. Isn't like hasn't really been a like focus really, but it's been a good year. I mean, all the stress taken off of like like being in a band, dealing with logistics and shit you don't want to deal with, but that you have to deal with anyway, and all those sides of the band thing being excluded, it's been very freeing to to and very inspiring. It's been a very creative year. I've been able to create a lot of music, songs, come up with ideas that that I would never have come up with if it wasn't for 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 being in like a pretty calm mental state of mind.
Okay, so we can say that maybe well, the last year gave you some time to work on new songs, probably.
Yeah, and both that and a lot of other perspectives. I mean, new songs and new creative songs, and yeah, it's just been good. It's been a good year. I haven't suffered at all from the pandemics. It's been been able to focus on myself.
I understand. And well,
Yeah,
of course, Enforcer is now releasing a live album on March, but do you have plans actually for another studio album, considering what you told me?
yeah. I mean, 2020 has probably been the most creative year in the history of the band. So I have like ideas and demos of more than 10, 15 songs. So we're just waiting for a release date so we can like plan everything like accordingly. But we hope to get at least a song or a couple of songs out before before June already. So that's the thing.
I understand. And well, you are releasing Lead by Fire 2 actually on March 19. This is going to be your second live album.
Yeah.
When did you come up actually with this idea? And I'm just curious, why did you decide to record? If I am not wrong, this was recorded in Mexico, right?
Yeah. No, I mean the old live album is it's already more than 8 years since we recorded that album, and for us it felt like it wasn't relevant anymore. The set list was like basically considering of old songs, and we weren't nearly as good back then as we are right now. We're so much more on point. We're so much tighter, and the songs from our two previous albums are just, in our opinion, better than anything we've ever done. So we just wanted to show people both with audio and with video like a proper um, like representation of what we are right now, and always have like up to date material both online but also like to be able to sell to people and to give out to the fans or whatever however way you consume music today.
I see. And well, is there any specific reason of why you pick out Mexico actually?
It was just a lucky coincidence of many factors. It was like first of all we had this show booked, and I had no idea about doing this, but I started to think about it because we like last live album it was like a slot on a festival. It was very stressed, but this time we knew that we had like a headline show. We had all the time, so we had a good venue, where we could film this show, and we could like really get the chance to show what Enforcer are like today. And and also and also we knew that we had a pretty good ticket sales, and the Mexican audience, the South American audience in general, is very enthusiastic to what we're doing. So we could also like hopefully get that energy from the crowd and make that both visible and audible in the recording. So, and to bring in the audience as a part of the songs. So it was a lot of factors that made us take this decision to record the show.
I see. Um, and well, you have already five studio albums actually, and the last two ones were really successful. Well, I from Beyond and the last one, Seen It, actually that has many straight songs and songs that can be easily, in this case, a single or a hit from that we can take from that album. So, uh, is it getting difficult for you maybe to pick up the song for to prepare the set list?
No, it's like to pick the set list is a little bit, it's a little bit like a result of trial and error. We've been trying a lot of songs, and maybe some songs didn't create like the reaction from the crowd that we were anticipating. So we tried a different song, and usually the songs that we have in the set list are the songs that where we experienced like the best reaction from the crowd. So you start somewhere, and then the order of a song is could be a little bit more like experimental. You can play with different tempos and different variations of songs, and yeah.
Okay, and well, of course, you have actually five studio albums, and it's been quite a long time since you released the first ones. And of course, one as a person, as a musician, maybe can evolve or change through the years. Is there any maybe album or that probably you now, when you see this from now into the past, maybe you would like to change some things about the songs or maybe some of the albums?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but at the same time, I think that all the albums that we've done have been like a pretty solid representation of what we have been at that moment. Of course, you always change. You listen to different types of music, but I also think that we've been very true throughout our entire career on every album to ourselves. We haven't been we haven't really been experimenting much, just doing songs that are slightly different on different albums. And but overall, I think we're a very consistent band, consistent band. Where you know what you get.
Yeah, I understand.
Mm.
And well, there's something else. There are many. This is my son, sorry.
Yeah.
In metal history, there are many great albums, as you know. Some of them are really, really good. From my perspective, what is important from a live album is to catch exactly the feeling, of the real concert, because sometimes with
Yeah.
technology, the problem with the technology is that sometimes I heard that there are many live albums that doesn't sound actually like a live album. So in this case, I would like to know maybe if I can ask uh, if you had maybe one album as a reference, of live albums, maybe any album that you can say, oh, I want to sound like this. I really like this.
No. I think I just had studio albums as sound references when I was mixing this, because there's so much you can do, like from a mixing perspective these days. I mean, and there's also like the gear that we've been traveling with are obviously exactly the gear that that has the sound that we are after. I mean, on the previous record, like live record, for example, we were just like playing on whatever amps were available. But now we're traveling with our own gear. We have like all the guys have like in-ears monitoring, so you can play much tighter, and you can also like keep the volume on stage lower, where so you can actually create more separation between all the instruments in the recording. So that's been very helpful when processing the sound here and be able to actually do a live sound that sounds more like a studio record.
I see. And well, changing a little bit of the issue now, um, I can see that you actually have been quite busy working with other bands. Well, not only as guest appearance, but also in mixing, mastering, and recording actually. But also the band has been touring a lot in this case. So maybe if we ask, is there any specific part in the when you are working with music that you like most? Maybe touring or recording or composing or mixing, mastering for other bands.
I think all the different like things has its own charms. I mean, but most of all, I think that I like more recording and creating things and hear people's feedback like on your songs, like on your new material, something that you feel is relevant at the moment. Because I mean, playing live, it's you play old songs that maybe for me they don't feel so relevant anymore. Um, and it's also a good feeling, of course, to be live and get the instant feedback from the audience. But I think it's more fun to be creative somehow with music. The feeling when
Okay,
you like, when the feeling when you have a recording and you listen to it and you're so happy with it, you just want to play it over and over again. That's probably the best feeling about like, making music.
I see. And well, now we have actually a lot of uncertainty because of the pandemic situation.
Mm.
Well, the situation is different from one country probably to another one, but the truth is that we cannot have concerts in most country anymore. So in this case, how do you see the situation of the metal scenes in this case from your perspective? And do you have also other plans after releasing the new album?
Um, I honestly don't miss playing shows that much. I enjoy this year very much actually to like we said previously like being creative more and like writing new songs without any pressure or any stress or anything like that. So it's been very good. So I don't miss that actually. But also it's gonna be nice once it starts up. What do we have? What's the plans that we have? I don't know. Just get new music out there. That's the only thing I have in mind right now. Um, all the songs that we've been creating for the past years, like to get that out to the people. And then if we get any good touring opportunities, we might jump onto something like that. But it all depends. It's not really up to us. If it was up to
Mhm.
me, I would absolutely go on tour with Iron Maiden or Judas Priest. But you know, that's not up to me. You know, it's up to a lot of other things that has to work. While I'm not very excited to like go out on tour and play bars in random shit cities like where nobody comes out. That's not really where you know. That's
Yeah.
something I'm not excited to do. But if we get like a decent and relevant tour offer, then hell yeah, I'll be excited to go out touring again.
Okay. And well, this is a question that we like to ask a lot because there are different opinions. But it seems that by now, of course, since most bands cannot go on tours, all that we have is like to have events that might be online. And I have seen that some
Yeah.
bands are doing like streaming events or streaming concerts. So, what's your opinion about that? Have you ever thought about doing something similar with the band or not by now?
The thought has crossed my mind, but I honestly don't think it's like it's it's. I don't think I simply just don't think it's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have like a very great and specific idea if you want to do something like that, like like relevant for us, I think I rather like do this, like really work on like a concept like Live by Fire 2, and like it's not live, but it sounds fucking great. And it's like, it's so much more, you will get so much more quality from watching this compared to watching a live stream when we play in some random fucking basement on a small stage where people turn off it's interesting for 25 seconds and then it's like you just turn it off or have it in the background. And it costs a lot of money to like do the streaming events, and especially if you want to do something that is a little bit more special, so it just doesn't make any sense, I think. And
Um,
also the fact that we live in like two sides of the world at the moment, so that's also like a bit of a logistical problem.
oh, okay, I understand. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes things quite
yeah.
difficult. Okay. Um, okay, and well, also, if I ask you, maybe as a fan, I know that probably sometimes you might be busy working on new songs, or well, just taking your time, or maybe you have to work in something else. But do you still have time to listen to new bands, new music, actually?
um to be quite honest with you, I used to be very excited about new music back like 15 years ago, but honestly, I'm not so interested anymore. It just disappoints me. I think there's a lot of bands who are either stuck in the 90s playing like 90s type of music, which I'm absolutely not interested in whatsoever, or revivalist bands who are more concerned about like imitating something old rather than do something with out of creativity and soul and passion. And there
Hmm.
seem to be very few bands who can actually like balance between being inspired by good music and also create something that is creative and that is unpredictable and that is non-generic. There's a few examples of good bands, but they are unfortunately very few in my opinion.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Anyone maybe that you can recommend us for?
Well, I would say, I mean, I like Helveted Sport, and there's a band called Horizont from Sweden that are pretty great. And then we have German Vulture and Canadian Cauldron. So there's a few bands that I like. Also from like the thrash scene, I think that like Warbringer and Toxic Holocaust are pretty great bands.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember. I listened to some of them,
yeah,
especially Vulture. Yeah,
yeah.
and and yeah, yeah, I remember some of them. Okay, awesome. And well, before we end with the interview, actually, can you share with us maybe any special memories from your tours in Latin America? I remember we saw you through here in the yeah, that was the time when you released From Beyond. Actually, that was
Yeah.
very an awesome show. Very so much energy. Actually, I remember one
What
of
are
the
you
best
in
shows
Lima?
that I remember in Lima. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was a lot. I mean, we had so much fun on those on that tour. We did a South American tour a few years earlier, but things back then were so much more spontaneous and so much more wild. But this tour that we did in 2016 was actually like quite well played, like planned. We had a lot of good shows, and we got out to the right venues and met the right people, and it was just like for us it was just great, to really to break new grounds in all these countries of South America, and it's I can't wait to come back and 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 play these type of shows again. I mean, obviously in South America you have like, or in the entire Latin America, you have like one of them, like the most passionate audience in the entire world for music. So it's always a huge pleasure for as a musician to come and play in front of people who are enthusiastic about your music. But specific things from Peru, for example, we had we played in La Paz and Juliaca, which is like very high up in the mountain, and we had a pretty
Oh,
dramatic border crossing that we that we put it like. Um, Because the promoters persuaded us that it was better to take the bus than to fly, even though we had like specifically like quoted that we want flights between every shows because we know we've been there before and we know how terrible those like bus rides could be. But they insisted and persuaded us to take the bus. So we did. We got out, and but just right before the border was like completely closed, and I can't remember if it was some strike or something had happened, and like it's like some sort of rebels or something had built like huge like piles of dirt on the road, stopping all the buses, and we heard rumors that they were walking around and robbing people from behind. So we had to
Wow.
hurry across the border, and I mean the bus was completely stopped. So we took all our gear. It's like I had like two guitars, like all my personal belongings, and I was just like when we started to walk to the border, and eventually we were picked up by by bike taxis that put all our gear on bikes and like giving us a ride to the border to Peru, where we actually like 6 hours delayed could like get across the border and then be picked up by another bus to be driven to the hotel in Juliaca and eventually play the show. But at that time we were like hours late, and our bass player had caught like a terrible strep throat infection and he couldn't even stand up, so we had to finish the show without bass.
Nice.
So we were just uh, but we were very warmly welcomed by the audience, and after all we had a great experience in Juliaca and we could finish the show.
Oh, well, that's part of the tourist attraction, I think, in this
uh,
part of the world. That's common, actually.
yeah, but it was, I mean, now it's a great story, so I yeah.
All right, Olof. Well, we really appreciate your time again. Maybe anything else that you would like to say to your fans in Latin America?
We hope to see you soon again. I mean, and we appreciate everything that you're doing to us, and we hear you and we see you, and we can't wait to come back.
Okay, Olof. Congratulations for the new album, actually. We wish you all the best. And of course, we are
Thank you
looking
very much.
forward for the
Appreciate
next
that.
studio album.
Yeah. All right. Take it easy. Thank you for the interview.
All right. Thank you very much.